How's it going, guys? This video will be just a quick overview on the brushes I just released this week. These are Photoshop brushes that you can use. These are $7. You can find the link on the description below. But before you even consider on buying them, I want to show you what these brushes can do. So this is a very quick overview on these brushes and how do I use each one for. So here it is. Hope you enjoy it. This one is called Hair Brush and it's basically the one I use to draw hair every day, every single day. The trick for me is to use the flow on 100, but the opacity on 32, like kind of low. And what I like to do is to build from there. As you can see on these first strokes, it's it looks soft. Like if you start with the opacity low and you keep building from there, then the hair will have a very soft look. Then you can pick like a more bright color to keep adding detail. But that's pretty much the secret. Besides, this brush is also using it on low opacity, just to have a very soft feel to it. This one is called Afro, and I mainly use this one for this kind of hairstyles, even though it has so many other applications. What I like about it is that it has this kind of uneven texture already built in the brush itself. So as you can see from this example, it doesn't take very long to accomplish a look like this one. So this is why this brush works very well for this kind of stuff. This one is called Outline and it's pretty much self-explanatory. I use this one mainly to make outlines or like heart-shaped objects. The cool thing about it is that it has a very subtle, nice texture to it. So it's basically just a more organic than usual outline that you can use for your drawings. This one is called Fuzzy, so it has a very textury look to it, so it works very well for like a bush or some grass or something around that. It has a very like children's book feel to it, if that makes sense. So if you're planning to do something like that, a children's book with some nice textures on your drawings, then this one works very well for that. So this one is basically a soft brush, like the ones you find by default in Photoshop. I decided to include this one though because it's one of the brushes I use the most for my drawings, especially for the skin. This one doesn't like respect the pen pressure. I did it this way because it always remains the same size. So it works very well to make like very soft surfaces. As you can see in these examples, I'm just using the same brush but on very different sizes, just for a few different purposes. I started very big to make main shadows and highlights, and on this one it's very small, just to make like a very subtle bouncing light. So yeah, this is basically a soft brush that you can use for very soft surfaces. So this one is called Air Dust. I use this one, the best example I can give you is like when the light hits an object, you can actually see some dust particles around it. So that's what I use this one for, just to simulate those dust particles around the brightest side of the object. So this one is the Freckles brush, and this one for me is very valuable because it saves a lot of time. And if you know my content, you know that I draw a lot of freckles on my drawings. As you can see, it has a very uneven texture like this one. But quick advice, I usually yeah, use like a reddish color on them, and I use multiply on my layer. And I use the opacity very kind of low, 32%, and the flow on 54, something like that. It doesn't have to be just like that. As you can see, it's very subtle effect. Of course, you can make them darker by just playing with those parameters. But yeah, this one is the one I use for the freckles. It saves a lot of time, and it has very organic look to it.